Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So the highly anticipated fight between Shakur Stevenson and Joe Cordina will not take place on October 12th due to an injury suffered by Shakur Stevenson. But of course, Shakur is not short on words. He is always on his social media account talking. And here recently, he made some comments in regards to Top Rank and their business model. Now, I thought that this comment was interesting because I think it highlights and illuminates a lot of different things that we've said on this channel. I think it highlights and illuminates a lot of the misunderstandings that fight fans sometimes have in regards to the sport of boxing. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit. So Shakur Stevenson, let me pull up this tweet so I have it right in front of me. Shakur had this to say. Top Rank is great at building fighters, but fans get that very confused, where they watch prospects fight guys way below their level and compare them with champions. But fans don't realize why Top Rank would never make the fights with the champions is because they understand boxing and the business. So what does all that mean, right? You're talking about prospects that are coming up and they're fighting against low-level fighters. What's interesting about that is, number one, that's not unique to Top Rank. That's any promotional entity. They are going to move their fighters in that manner. They're going to move them against fighters that have a lower level of skills, but may highlight something specific that they want their fighter to get the opportunity to have experience against. That's with all promoters. And matchmaking, because that's what I call it, matchmaking occurs all the way up until not only you're a prospect, but all the way up to being a champion. You are still a prospect, or they still not still a prospect. You are still moved in that manner. They're still doing matchmaking for you all the way up until the point where you're a champion. And when you think about that, again, that's not unique to Top Rank. That's all promoters. They are going to match their fighters against the appropriate level of competition that's going to make their fighters look good while trying to maximize revenue, not only for their promotional company, but also for that specific fighter. That's the way the game works, right? And so when Shakur made this statement, they're moving prospects against lower level competition. I mean, they did that for you as well. They did that all the way up until you left them. They are matchmaking for you. They're putting you in the ring with specific types of fighters, and they're making a lot of these decisions based off of what revenue and bottom line profit they expect to earn. That's what it is. So when I think about what he said, it's like you're also discrediting yourself. You're discrediting everybody that has been on Top Rank as a fighter. But when you think about this other aspect of it, right? So there's a lot of emphasis put on being a champion. He made that comment. They won't put him in the ring with champions. But matchmaking, again, occurs all the time. So you are going to take that young champion, you're going to match him up with the correct opponent and the correct champion when the time comes so that he can become a champion. That's how it works. And a lot of the champions that you currently see, not all of them are top flight champions, right? You got people, when you say specifically, they have a belt. He was a champion. So XYZ fought a champion. And that's fine. But a lot of times that champion was also the beneficiary of matchmaking, where they were with a specific promotional company. They got moved in a way where they were able to get a title. Sometimes those titles are vacant. They didn't even beat other champions to become champion. So all of this happens in the sport of boxing. There's a bunch of matchmaking that happens. And as a result, there's a lot of folks that have titles that are not actually great fighters. Sometimes they're not even really good fighters. So That's why on this channel there's so much of an emphasis on who did you beat rather than what titles you have held. I mean, that's great. You won a title, but if you won a title in a weak division, is that really all that impressive? If you won titles against champions that didn't go on to further their career and become champions again, or they went on to lose a significant amount of fights after they fought you, then that means that they were just a placeholder, a belt holder, a gatekeeper of a title until there was someone who was worth, I would say, worth it to the promoter in terms of their bottom line to put them in the ring with them so that they can win the title. So these are the things that are so interesting, that some of these fighters, they make these comments and it's like, are you really thinking this through when you're saying these types of things? Because you, again, started your career with Top Rank and were the beneficiary of their matchmaking as well. An argument can be made that when you were coming up the ranks, and I mean, to a certain extent, I guess you still could be, people have made the comment that why haven't he been put in the ring with Gervonta Davis? Like, why? It's Gervonta Davis is the one that's avoiding this fight. But in reality, based off of your comment, Tank had been a champion for a little bit. Why would Top Rank put you in the ring with him, knowing that you only have, let me see, how many fights does Shakur have? I feel like Shakur is like in his low 20s in terms of his the number of fights he's had. Let's see, Shakur Stevenson is 27 years old. He only has 22 fights. So, I mean, when you're still in your like mid-teens, you still kind of considered someone who is a prospect coming up to some degree, a contender / prospect. So when you make that kind of comment and you're saying their business model is to tie you to fighters that are not on your level, and then you get compared to champions, then wouldn't that also apply to you in a situation against Gervonta Davis? Someone could make that argument. So that's why you got to be careful when you make these types of statements. Understand how they could come back to you. Understand how you could discredit some of your accomplishments and also some of the accomplishments of people that have also been on or been a part of that promotional entity, right? So those are my thoughts on that comment. I just thought it was interesting from Shakur Stevenson. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section in regards to these statements from Shakur. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and I am out.